Help us welcome someone that I know you know very well. He's a dear man and a good father. Chet Curtis is with us, along with his daughter, Dana Curtis. And you have, Chet, had an experience at 2 different times in your life.
Yes, Dana will be 22, and Lindsay, who is here, however, but camera shy this morning, has just turned 3, and that's a pretty big spread. There's a whole different relationship that changes. There's a mindset that you develop. You know, it's nervousness. The old story about they don't come with an owner's manual.
Right.
So with every experience that you have with the firstborn, you build on and you add to, and the second one gets a little easier, and even the intervening years have made you know, my relationship with Lindsay a little bit easier at this point. But you were talking about bonding earlier. I think the bonding process, for me anyway, still goes on. It goes on with Dana, it goes on with her 18-year-old sister Dawn, and it goes on with their 3-year-old sister Lindsay, at least between, it's my feeling that...
You mean it changes? It's a different kind of bonding?
It's a different kind of bonding, but it still goes on for me. The relationship changes from that bonding process between father and infant, and father and toddler. It's a whole nother relationship, father and teenager, now father and adult in the case of Dana, where we can go to dinner or talk about things from race relations to the arms race. It's a whole new kind of relationship.
But did you think this way when Dana was first born, or is this a traditional father who's now become a modern father?
No, I thought that way, I guess. Well, no, not when she was born, because all you think about is, am I sure, how do I know which end is up? How do I change her?
Did you feel a real special bonding when you changed your first sturdy diaper, Chet Curtis?
Sure.
I have to ask you.
And you know, you always do in the firstborn, too. And I'll tell you the first thing, I'll never forget this as long as I live. I lived to be 100. Dana was about 2 months old, 2 or 3 months old, and her mother was out working at night on a part-time job. And I was at home, and she had what Dr. Spock called projectile vomiting, and I didn't know about projectile vomiting then, but I was holding her and went over and went to Dr. Spock and looking that up.
Did you really?
Oh, I did, and tried, panicked.
Your turn, Dana. Now, tell the truth. What kind of a father is Chet Curtis to you?
Well, that's hard to answer in one sentence, but he's been a terrific father, and I'm sure he will remain so.
Why? What makes him special?
I think that one of the biggest things that he does for me is has confidence in me, and I know that no matter what I say I'm going to do, he thinks I can do it. And that's really important, especially right now as I'm starting off, having finished school and ready to go out and try something new.
How was it growing up with a father who was well known to a community? Did that place a special burden on you, or were there joys associated with that?
Well, I've always been very proud of him, and I've been proud of the way that he is in front of the public, so I don't think it's placed a burden on me, because if I ever have a question of how I should act, then I just think of how he does it.
Do you think that, we often think, I suppose, of the role model of a father, he's a role model to a son. Do you think your father in any way has been a role model to you? I mean, what's the difference between your father's input in your life and your mother's?
Well, I think my father's definitely a role model in the sense that when I have a career someday, I hope that, while I may not follow in his exact footsteps, I'd like to emulate a lot of the more general characteristics, like the effort that he puts into it and the, let's see, what else?
Well, when you watched him put this great effort into it, though, was it taking time away from you when you were growing up? Did you always understand the great effort?
No, well, that's, I guess, something I understand more now, because I'm thinking of what I want to do. And I hope that I can do as well as he's done in the way that he's followed on his career.
That speaks to that. Would you?
Oh, absolutely. I wasn't 22 years ago and 18 years ago, because it wasn't something that you thought about doing, and I could just kick myself now for not insisting on it. I'm sure had I insisted on it, it probably would have been okay to do it. But I was there when Lindsay was born, and you can't describe it. You can't articulate it. And I would give anything to have been able to have been there for Dana's birth and Dawn's birth.
I have to share with the audience, and I wish we only had a piece of that tape, but the morning after Lindsay was born, you were with us on the show. And you were a mess. You were crying.
Oh, I'm crying now.
I think that fatherhood would be so important in your life when you were growing up?
Yeah, I think so, because I had a very special relationship with my own father. My mother died at childbirth 8 days after I was born. And my father was mother, father, and best friend to me. And that was, you know, there was a talk about a special bond. There was that with, you know, with my dad.
You're lucky, huh?
Very lucky.
Dana, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Chet, Great.
Glad to be here.